I don't usually do standalone reviews on this channel, but I've actually been interested in these for quite a while, so when the manufacturer reached out to me asking if I wanted to review one, I wasn't really going to say no. I've had this ATOTO S8 installed in the Buick for about a month now so that I could really use it and give it a fair shakedown so I can give my honest thoughts on it. And I thought it was really about time for me to tell you what exactly you're getting with this all singing, all dancing head unit. Seriously, you look at the spec sheets and this thing can pretty much do everything but your taxes. I mean, oh, okay, well, it can do your taxes too. But before we get into whatever that is, let's just start with the basics. What we have here is a $310 head unit with a 10.1 inch, the one is important, capacitive QLED touchscreen display with a 1024x600 resolution, an Intel octa-core x86 processor with a Mali GPU. This chipset was used in cell phones for a while when Intel was making a big push into the cell phone market. It's pretty tried and true. It's running a heavily customized version of Android 8.1, which is 2 or 3 major versions old now. I think it's still getting security updates though, if you're worried about that kind of thing, and it is pretty well optimized for this device. You've got a 32-band equalizer, a built-in amplifier with 49 peak watts per channel, dual Bluetooth radios with aptX support, so it's actually Bluetooth 4 and a Bluetooth 5.1 radio, so you can connect two devices with a way better connection. It's got something called an AM/FM radio. I have no idea what that is, but it supports RDS and RBDS for those of you who care. There's a built-in GPS module with an external antenna, so you don't have to rely on your phone's little built-in GPS when you're going around, and you can actually load Google Maps on here, and it's all self-contained, which is pretty nice. It's got full phone screen mirroring as well as CarPlay and Android Auto. It's got a fast boot function, split screen function, auxiliary audio video inputs, so you could like plug a game console into this if you wanted to. That'd be cool. Ooh, I really want to play Need for Speed Underground in my car now. I need to go find a PlayStation 2 stat. You've got front and rear camera inputs. The rear camera, pretty obviously for backup and stuff. The front camera you can actually use as like a dash cam. ATOTO makes a 1080p dash cam module that you can plug into this, and that's some pretty cool functionality, really. It has 4-channel RCA pre-outs, which are 2 volt, and a 0.8 volt subwoofer pre-out for your external 5-channel amplifiers, your 4 and 1-channel amplifier, whatever. If you want to do an audio build, this will support all that stuff that you'd want. It also has a micro SD card slot and 3 USB ports. So that's an impressive feature list, but let's go down and actually see what all that stuff gets you. I guess the most natural place to start is with the quick start functionality, which addresses a concern that I had with an Android-based head unit, which is I don't want to wait forever for this thing to start up when I start my car. So let's go ahead and shut that, turn the car on, go ahead and start it so I don't kill my battery like an idiot. And there it is. It's on. It just goes into a low power mode. If the battery voltage gets too low, it does seem to shut off all the way, but then the boot up is just a few seconds long, and you can even customize the boot screen to be your car's logo. In my case, it's a Buick emblem, which is, you know, flashy. I'm a fan of that. Next up, the next thing that we're looking at here is the screen itself, that QLED display. And as near as I can tell, it's an LED display with multiple LED backlights, and it's able to do more localized dimming and stuff. It's not ammo LED, but it's not just a regular LCD either. It sort of splits the difference, and actually it's quite good. And the capacitive touch part is great. There are some gestures you can do with multiple fingers that work all right. This has some slightly more basic gestures. You know, you can do that for volume, and the sensitivity is not amazing, but the option is there if you want it. And of course there's the buttons, but what you get with the display is really decent blacks, good brightness, good viewing angles. I mean, look at how shallow I can get off to the sides. Up and down isn't quite as good. It does start to fade out a little bit, but that viewing angle isn't quite as important. Overall, it's a really, really solid display. My only complaint is that, as you can tell, it is glossy. I kind of wish it was a matte finish. It tends to, you can sort of see, it's a lot more visible in person, but that shield stares me in the face on sunny days with this head unit. It's like all I can see. And I mean, it's not like it's interfering with my ability to use it. The icons definitely stand out against anything that would be reflecting. It's one of those once you notice it things, and really every head unit's going to have that issue. You can't really knock ATOTO specifically for that, so it's really just whatever. As far as the software goes, we are running Android here. I think here I can go look at, yes, about device. Yep, Android 8.1, and we've got, it's an x86 processor, all that stuff. It runs pretty well, and it's been customized to run on this device, so there's a bit of synergy there. It's it's not bad. I'm not totally in love with this launcher. It's okay. There are some automotive specific launchers that you can get for this, but I kind of wanted to use this how the developer intended, and kind of just with the stock launcher, which kind of looks more or less like a modified stock Android launcher. It's all right. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. Really, it's just kind of another, it gets the job done. But the nice thing about this being Android is you can put your own launchers on here and customize it as much as you'd like. So I talked a bit about people who would do audio builds with this, hook up a whole bunch of amplifiers, get the really nice speakers there. The equalizer in this thing is actually great. Look at all these bands, 16 bands, and it's 16 bands times 2. If your rear speakers are a different brand or different quality or different type than your front ones, you can have a completely different equalizer curve for them, which is great because the stock sound systems in most cars just don't give quite as much attention to the rear speakers, so they could often use a different amount of equalization so that your backseat passengers have the same great audio experience you have up front. And I say great, I mean it's okay. GM, you get a gold star. You tried. You also get, your typical presets, your loudness. You can do time correction to really get your whole spatial audio thing figured out. Bass boost with high and with, I guess that's a low pass filter for the front and the rear. Again, completely settable, which is great. You've got, of course, you can fade things around and kind of do, you can do this business, which is always fun. And then you have your high pass filters, which is also pretty cool. So really, as far as equalization goes, I like it. Good DSP, well done. It gives me all the features I want, and it's not crammed chock full of you can make it sound like you're in a cathedral. I always hated that stuff. I don't care. I don't want your stupid reverb effects. Just give me the ability to make my garbage sound nice. Thank you. Very, very, very thank you. The only thing I wish that I could do that I haven't found on this is something sort of like higher end Pioneer stuff or home audio or old Alpine DSP units where you plug in a microphone and it automatically sets all this to try and get a flat sound profile. Now, this isn't that level of audiophile, but that would be kind of neat, and I don't think it would be a super difficult thing to do. I mean, heck, it already has a microphone input for talking to people, which I sort of haphazardly just have sticking over here somewhere. Yep, there it is, down by the steering column. I wonder, that's not exactly acoustically great, but I do wonder if it could just get sort of the basic, come on, focus. I do wonder if it could just kind of get the basic sound signature of my speakers. Honestly, given that this is Android, I do wonder if there's a DSP app that I could download that would let me do that. Possibilities are fairly endless. Boop. So I mentioned dual Bluetooth, and what that gets you is the ability to not only stream audio from my phone to here, but also I can have a separate Bluetooth radio handling the connection between this and that right there. That's my OBD2 dongle, and that lets me do really neat stuff like torque, which is amazing. I always wanted this in a car. This is like the biggest reason that I was super excited about this, is because I wanted a big boost gauge, and now I have. A big boost gauge, and I love it. And I can also have all these other gauges if I want. Is that not the coolest thing? I've got all my gauges right there in the dashboard of my Park Avenue. It's so good, and it doesn't have any effect on my streaming. No dropouts or anything. Bluetooth between my phone and that completely different radio with aptX support. So that is a pretty sweet feature, really. I love it. I'm over the moon with Torque. I mean, it's Torque. It's great. You know exactly what you're getting here. You get all the stuff, all the goodies. I haven't used any of this yet. I kind of want to see what this actually does 0 to 60 in. For a radio, you've got your basic AM/FM radio. I did not have the proper adapter to hook up the antenna, so all we get is... Oh, it does have a mute button. I love that it has a mute button. Every radio needs a stinking mute button. My Mazda has a mute button on the steering wheel controls itself, and it's amazing for when your passenger suddenly wants to talk to you and you don't want to, like, do that to turn it down all the way. Anyway, the radio interface actually quite good. You can name stations, you can favorite stations, you can set presets. It's pretty well thought out. They actually put some effort into it. A lot of modern infotainment systems in cars, this is all just an afterthought, but yeah, this does a pretty good job, and it supports those acronyms that I said earlier that I don't fully understand. What do we have for settings? Yes, RDS and RDBS, sensitivity, your locale. Pretty neat, fairly comprehensive. Moving on. The GPS module. It has GPS. You can do GPS things. I don't use this feature because I use Android Auto. It also has screen mirroring through the Easy Connection app. I also don't use that functionality because I use Android Auto. But if you do want to do that, it works fairly well. I'm just not going to show it because it requires a companion app on my phone that I don't have installed right now because it interferes with Android Auto and you can't do both at the same time. And I'm really here for the Android Auto functionality because well, it's perfect. Like, it's Android Auto. It's exactly what you want. Android Auto itself is handled through this app called Z-Link. You don't need an external adapter like some other Chinese head units require. It's all built in. You just open the app and it says waiting, plug my phone in, and it's probably going to immediately start playing copyrighted music, so prepare for jump cut. I was sitting there waiting for it to connect and I realized that my cable was not actually plugged in, so let's do that real quick. I had to pause the copyrighted music, but yep, there you have it. It's Android Auto. It works quite well. It does all the Android Auto things. I like it. It's good. This is really all I wanted out of this head unit. Android Auto, good DSP, and Torque. And this does all those things excellently. So if that's all you want, why are you still watching? Go down and use the code in the description and pick one of these up. I like it. Or you can pick up its little brother that fits more in the dashboard, but honestly the big screen is pretty cool. Bluetooth streaming audio also works pretty well. I use this instead of Android Auto sometimes just because I've been too lazy to plug my phone in. You can dial numbers, take and receive calls, all that sort of stuff. If I synced my contacts, they would show up here, and you can manage your devices pretty easily through here instead of going through the actual Android settings, which is nice. You can do all the usual Bluetooth stuff like telling it what you want your device to show up as. My only complaint here is that it has like a spectrum analyzer thing that's like super low frame rate and kind of distracting, and there's no way to turn that off or change it or anything like that. I like how it just changed song for no reason. That's interesting. Guess we're listening to 3 Days Grace now. But I wish I could turn off that visualizer. If I could do that, this would be a 10 out of 10 Bluetooth experience here, but it's like the 8 out of 10 instead. Yeah, we'll go with that. We're getting progressively more low tech here. I'm going to show off another use case that I used to use a lot, which was putting a whole bunch of songs onto a USB flash drive. As you can see here, it's got a little USB symbol. I accidentally edited my home screen. I've got this flash drive with a bunch of copyright-free music, so if we go into the built-in music app, we can see it's already playing. There we go. We can browse, we can see USB. You can also have stuff in the internal storage, and here's a whole bunch of free music. Yep, it's free music, and you can see that same visualizer there. I'm not a huge fan of this. Can't change it here either, but yep. Yep, that plays music. It works good. It's nice and responsive. As you can kind of tell here, this whole time there hasn't really been any, stuttering or anything like that, so you can judge for yourself, but the performance is pretty good. Real quick to round this review off, I'm going to go through some of the apps that there are. aux for aux video, you've got all your Bluetooth stuff, DAB, the easy connect for the mirroring. You can view your front cam and manage it here. Oops, there's not one connected, so that's not going to do anything. You've got your file manager, gallery, you can browse your images. HD DVR, I believe that's the recording functionality for the dash cam, which, you know, clearly I don't have. Navi just opens whatever your default maps program is, which in this case is Google Maps. You've got Netflix. I don't advise watching Netflix while you drive. Please only use this while parked. It is real and it does work fairly well. Pandora, Torque Dashboard is something I installed. TPMS, you can actually buy ATOTO TPMS sensors that will sync up to this and you can view all your tire pressures, which is pretty cool. Play Store, full Play Store access, that's pretty cool. SWC setup, I don't have functioning steering wheel controls right now due to the fault of my wiring harness. It has nothing to do with the radio, but all that you do is you go in there and you say, this is my volume up button, and then push your volume up button and it just does the thing, which is great. You can also watch videos, movies, whatever off your flash drive if you want to. You've got Torque, you've got your Android Auto, and you have all of your favorite YouTubers and their content. Because while the Park Avenue has been made faster and the interior is now very clean, there's still the elephant in the room, which is it is still broken. The dashboard is an absolute Christmas tree and it makes all kinds of fun noises and wow, what an idiot. So there you have it. That's a quick review of the ATOTO S8 10.1-inch Android head unit in my Buick Park Avenue Ultra, also known as my big boost gauge. Overall, for the money, I think this thing's a pretty great deal. I have a JVC Kenwood in my Mazda Miata that costs more than this new, and this absolutely smacks the crap out of it. It's a resistive touchscreen, super low resolution, super slow. It doesn't run Android. I think this thing's actually a huge bargain in comparison. And then they also have like a cheap $150 unit that does not run Android. It's just, you know, a regular head unit, but it supports CarPlay and Android Auto at $150 price point. I'd kind of like to get one of those as well, just to see what that's like, and probably replace my JVC Kenwood with it because it's a competitive product at afford the price, it sounds like. But this thing's pretty great, and even the floating screen even is pretty sturdy considering that it's cantilevered out here. And you can see, maybe you can't see, but the there's a USB and a micro SD card slot back up in there that I couldn't really demo because of the way this sits back in my dashboard. That's not really the fault of the head unit, that's just kind of the fault of my particular dashboard. So it's definitely worth taking a look at your car to figure out if this is a good fit for it. One car that I found that is an excellent fit for this is like a 2003 Toyota Corolla, because the radio is up at the top at the dash, and this big screen will block absolutely nothing on that car, if I'm remembering correctly. So if you're interested in this, check out the links below. There's a link to ATOTO's Amazon shop and an affiliate link where you can pick one of these up. There's also a link to the install video where I put this thing in this car in the first place. It was a bit of a hassle due to the obnoxious way that Buick designed this dashboard. What you gonna do? Anyways, thanks for watching.